Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Immigration Fridays, your go to channel for understanding the ins and outs of navigating the US immigration system. I'm your host, Prashanti Reddy, and today we're tackling a question that many of you may have. Is it possible to work legally in the United States without a traditional employment visa like the H1 or without that coveted green card? The answer might surprise you. For many, the path to working in the US seems to be paved with complex visa applications and long waiting times for a green card. But there are alternative routes available for certain individuals, particularly through what is known as Employment Authorization Document, EADs, and specific programs for international students like CPT and OPT are also another alternative to H1Bs. So let's first talk about what is an EAD and who is eligible. Think of it as a work permit issued by USCIS that allows you to legally work in the United States for a particular period of time, and you can really work for any employer, unlike the H1B. Now, obviously, you don't just get an EAD out of thin air. You typically become eligible for one based on your underlying immigration status or based on a pending application. Let's talk about some examples of where an EAD will be issued. Number one, if you have a pending green card application, that is a 485, usually you can apply for an I-765, which is an EAD, and USCIS will issue you an EAD so that you can work while your application is pending. If you have an asylum or refugee status, if you have a pending asylum or refugee status under certain circumstances, USCIS will issue the EAD once you apply for it. And also, if you have an approved asylum application, you will also be granted EAD. Certain dependents, such as H4s, and interestingly enough, spouses of L1 applicants, L2s. In the situation of a H4, which is a H1 dependent, your spouse or a H1 holder will have to have an I-140 approved in order for you to be granted a EAD on H4. But for L2s, that is spouses of L1s, you're automatically eligible for EAD or for work authorization. You don't have to actually apply for an EAD with USCIS. TPS, if your home country is designated as TPS due to an ongoing armed conflict that might be happening in your home country, or maybe some kind of environmental disasters or other extraordinary conditions, your country might be approved for TPS or temporary protected status. In this instance, you may be eligible for EAD while you have TPS status. And of course, there are many other categories that can lead to an EAD, such as a U visa, that is victims of crimes, DACA, that is individuals granted deferred action for childhood arrivals. It's crucial to understand that an EAD is usually tied to a specific immigration status or a pending application, and if that status changes, your EAD eligibility may also be affected. Also, make sure you check the specific eligibility requirement on the USCIS website. Now, exploring some opportunities specific only for international students holding an F1 visa. If you're enrolled in a US academic institution, you may be eligible for CPT. And what is CPT? CPT is essentially work authorization that allows F1 students to participate in an internship or a co-op program or other types of off-campus employment that is an integral part of your academic curriculum. This means that the work experience must be directly related to the major that you're studying in. And usually this will give you credit, academic credit. When can you use CPT? You can typically engage in CPT during your studies, either during the academic year or during a break. However, there are limitations for this. For example, if you complete 1 year of full-time CPT, you will not be eligible after that for OPT, and we'll discuss OPT further um, just in a little while from now. How do you obtain CPT? You don't have to apply for an EAD, or you don't have to apply with USCIS. You have to apply with your DSO, or designated school official, and your DSO will issue you an I-20, which will be endorsed with CPT. So while CPT is a fantastic way for international students to gain practical experience, it's all about integrating your work with your learning. Now let's talk a little bit about OPT, optional practical training. This is another work authorization available for students, F1 students, and it's typically used after graduation. So F1 students on OPT or post-completion OPT generally have to apply for an EAD card after their I-20 has been endorsed, and they usually get 12 months of OPT, and this is valuable 12 months that they can gain experience, and it has to be, of course, related to the academic program. This is post completion OPT, which where you get 12 months. You also have something called STEM OPT. So if you have majored in any of the sciences, technology, engineering, or mathematics, or in STEM fields, it's possible to get a further 24-month extension on your OPT, on your 12-month OPT. So this is called STEM OPT. And again, for this also you have to apply with USCIS, and you have to get an EAD card. And this is a popular route for international graduates. Of course, it's possible to get that 12 months of OPT. Instead of getting it post completion, you can also get it while you're studying. So this is pre-completion OPT. But of course, if you get this and use up the pre-completion OPT, then you will not have post-completion OPT. How to apply for OPT? Unlike CPT, you do have to apply for OPT. You have to directly apply with USCIS after getting an endorsement from the DSO on your I-20. The application process can take several months, so it's crucial to plan in advance, and you will get an EAD card once you get an approval. While OPT provides a valuable opportunity for international graduates to launch their careers, particularly in STEM OPT is a game changer for many, especially those that are want to stay, can explore employment opportunities. And also, as we know, with reference to the H1 route, sometimes you may not get into the lottery. So this allows you to stay and work for an extended period while you're waiting for the lottery as well. So before you think that you have a foolproof way to work in the US indefinitely without a visa or green card, it's essential to understand that there are key limitations to this OPT or CPT or EAD. This is of a temporary nature. EADs, CPTs, OPTs are generally temporary work visas, and they're often tied to a specific status and given for a defined period of time. The eligibility requirements for each of these roles are specific and they must be met. Don't assume that you qualify without carefully reviewing those requirements. You do not automatically get a green card. Obtaining an EAD or participating in CPT or OPT does not automatically lead to a green card or permanent residency. You should typically explore other immigration pathways in order to get a green card or to get a work visa. In addition to that, regulations continuously change. So make sure you look at the regulation that's applicable to you at the time that you are filing. For example, there is a bill in the legislature which is talking about doing away completely with STEM OPTs. Hasn't been passed yet, may not ever get passed, but it's important to keep abreast with what the law is as of the date that you're filing. So while working in the US, Without a traditional employment visa or green card, might seem like a distant dream, the EAD, CPT, OPT routes offer legitimate pathways for certain individuals under specific circumstances to actually work in the US. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more information and more content. We will come back to you soon next week with other immigration topics. Until then, stay tuned and thanks for watching.